Let's talk to Sebastian Salek. He's a Labour councillor in Waltham Forest and joins us right now. Very good morning to you, Sebastian.
Good morning, Julia. How are you?
Very well indeed. Thank you for joining us. So I'm probably doing a bit better than your Prime Minister's Chief of Staff today. Can we ask you about Morgan Mcweeny? He's a name that, I mean, basically, if you've got a Chief of Staff and you're Prime Minister and you think things are going well, we probably shouldn't even know this guy's name because he'd be busy in the back room getting the job done. He was mastermind of the election victory, we're told, well, the defeat of the Tories anyway, and of also policy right now. I don't know if he's in charge of phase 1, phase 2 or whatever phase we're in this week, but he's got some questions to answer, according to the Tories, from Heathrow. They believe the police and the Electoral Commission over a £740,000 set of donations made to or think tank used to run, Labour Together, which weren't declared to the Electoral Commission as they were legally required to be. The organisation was fined quite considerably for failing to hand over, but we've now got a leaked email from a senior Labour lawyer seen by the Mail advising him to drop a claim that they said was not evidenced, unsubstantiated, that he'd been told these donations didn't have to be declared. I don't know why he would have thought that. And to say that it was an admin error. Does this suggest there was possibly a deliberate attempt to basically, you know, hide a huge amount, hundreds of thousands of pounds of donations into a think tank?
We can never know, to be completely honest.
I mean, we can do an investigation and find out.
Yeah, and look, if the Electoral Commission wants to investigate, they should, and let's act on the basis of that rather than speculating on what the outcome might be. As I understand it, it seems that the conversation between Mcweeny and the Electoral Commission happened over the phone, and that is difficulty. There's no record of that, and that's why he has nothing to rely on when he makes that assertion. But it also seems like this was all wrapped up a long time ago. Clearly, there were some donations that should have been registered that weren't. That was a mistake. But then Labour Together wrapped that up. They paid the fine to the Electoral Commission, and that was that.
Look, well, was that. In 2021, they paid that fine. But the claim was that it was down to an admin error. We've now got in writing, not a phone call, but in writing from a lawyer advising him that actually he should drop his unsubstantiated claim that he'd been told that the donations did not have to be declared, so that he had deliberately, it wasn't an admin error, he had deliberately not declared those donations because he claimed, believed that they didn't have to be declared. I still can't work out why he would have thought that with any organisation like this, as far as we understand how donations work to political organisations. This was about trying to basically move the party away from Jeremy Corbyn and towards someone like Keir Starmer getting elected. He then went on to become his Chief of Staff. But if actually he had to be advised by a lawyer, no, actually you have to claim it was an admin error, well then it obviously wasn't an admin error, it was something he did deliberately. Now, to deliberately not declare these sums to the Electoral Commission, if that were the case, would be a criminal act. Should the police, should the Electoral Commission reinvestigate? If only, in your mind perhaps, to clear Morgan Mcweeny's name.
Yeah, and look, I can see why he might have thought that as well. Labour Together is quite unusual as far as organisations go. Nominally, it's a think tank, and think tanks aren't registered or overseen by the Electoral Commission, and that creates all sorts of issues. There are loads of think tanks that are really shady and take money from all sorts and then campaign on their behalf. But then there is an element of Labour Together which the Electoral Commission thinks is more about campaigning. It falls under what a political party might do, and therefore comes under the auspices of the Electoral Commission. So I think that's where the confusion is, and that's where the disagreement is. So it is. There is a reason why this confusion has come about. I want to see everybody follow the rules. I want to see everybody go along with investigations, and I'm sure they will if one happens. We don't know whether one will happen. What's a bit weird to me in all of this is why the Tories are sticking their oars in. We have an organisation that looks after this. The Electoral Commission exists for a reason.
Well, a lot of people
act as world police on this one.
A lot of people, including me, would have some big question marks about the, should we say, political inclinations and views of those who work at the Electoral Commission after the absolutely outrageous treatment of Darren Grimes, who ran Believe, a sort of youth sort of wing of Vote Leave, and the man was, I would say, bullied and harangued by the organisation and was found to have done nothing wrong whatsoever of donations. And certainly, you know, it seems to be very, very different. Oh, let's have a casual phone call with Morgan Mcweeny over this think tank. But when it comes to someone on the Brexit side, rather different treatment. We've seen what happened with investigations into Aaron Banks over the Leave.eu campaign. There does seem to be a lot more concern over certain political parties and political causes and their donations than there does over others. Two-tier justice at all, anyone?
Labour Together was fined as well, which was the right.
£14,000 for 3 years of undeclared donations totalling almost £750,000.
How does the Electoral Commission decide what its fines are?
I have no idea.
Well, then how can you comment on whether that is commensurate or not?
I don't know. I didn't know whether it was commensurate or not. But
you're suggesting
they didn't. If 3 years of undeclared money, or £750,000, suggests this is not a minor issue. I don't think that's an admin error. I really don't think that's an admin error.
Hang on, we're going around in circles now. You were saying that you thought the 14,000 was not high enough. Is that right?
No, I wasn't saying that. I'm just pointing out they got fined £14,000.
Okay, yeah, which is the right thing to do, right? If you break the law, you break the rules, you pay the fine. That's right.
Well, the Labour Party paid the fine, yeah. But the question is the motivation, whether it was deliberate or not. One is an admin error, and one is, as is being alleged, not proven yet, no police investigation, a criminal act, which is very different.
And let's be clear, I believe it was Labour Together that paid the fine. We should be really clear that Labour Together isn't part of the Labour Party. It's a separate organisation.
No. Well, certainly, yes, certainly at the time was a different leadership. Okay, well, we shall wait and see. But here's the question: should the Tories be going after Morgan Mcweeny at all, given his track record in office as Chief of Staff to the Prime Minister? I mean, if I were in the opposition party, I'd be thinking, let's keep this guy. He's doing a great job.
Well, it depends on your view on Morgan Mcweeny, doesn't it? The Tories are always going to attack, as any party is going to. It's just the nature of politics, isn't it? I just find it a bit weird that they're trying to go the Electoral Commission, which is a body that's set up to investigate these things. Say what you want about it. You know, if you want to allege any kind of bias, that's a separate conversation, as far as I'm concerned. But it exists for a reason, and it's kind of weird that the Tories are trying to be part of that. You'd think they'd get along with trying to reclaim some level of relevance. And I say that with love. Look, I want there to be strong opposition parties in this country. I think it's good for democracy. It's sad to see the Tories where they are at the moment. And I'd rather they focus their energy on trying to come up with fresh ideas to take to voters rather than trying to brew up some idea of scandal.
Well, you say, I mean, who knows? I mean, the only thing is the Prime Minister has said he has full confidence in his Chief of Staff. That doesn't seem to have worked out very well for quite a lot of people, like the former ambassador to the US and indeed his former Deputy Prime Minister and others. Every time they get full confidence, it all seems to go a bit wrong.
Well, Starmer sacked Mandelson, and that was the right thing to do.
The day after he said he had full confidence in him.
Yeah.
And he had full confidence in Angela Rayner, and a few days later she had to resign. So does this bode well for Morgan Mcweeny, his Chief of Staff?
Let's remember what happened, because it's really important that we talk about the details here. When he had full confidence in Angela Rayner, that was before the Ethics Commissioner came out with their report. Of course you can't have half confidence in someone, can you? It's a
it was unfortunately after he knew that she had actually taken more legal advice. But there we go. Can I ask you about something else, because time is a bit short? We've had Donald Trump at the United Nations yesterday and criticising various things. I mean, an hour-long speech should have been 15 minutes. He went off criticising countries in Europe, basically saying countries are going to hell over uncontrolled migration and net zero and the like. He also had a dig at Sadiq Khan, and he basically said he's a terrible, terrible mayor. He's had more of words with Sadiq Khan going all the way back to 2016. And he basically said Sadiq Khan, which I think he hinted, he's trying to bring Sharia law to London. This is what Sadiq Khan has just said in response to those attacks from Donald Trump. He said, I think President Trump has shown he is racist, he is sexist, he is misogynistic, and he is Islamophobic. What do you say to that?
I think it's not far off, is it? I mean, his first gambit as president way back in 2016 was a ban on Muslims entering the United States. That's pretty Islamophobic in my books. And now he's making up fake news, as he likes to call it, about Sharia courts in London. Just not true, completely baseless.
We do have Sharia courts in this country, which are basically, there's been a lot of concern about them running as rival legal system to the only law of the land, whether that's in London or elsewhere. That is a concern. Whether it's got anything to do with Sadiq Khan, I think is questionable. But,
well, that's it. And let's remember that Sharia courts have absolutely no legal basis in this country.
No, however, they are often being treated as if they do.
But by people who buy into them, which is not me, it's not you, it's people who want to do that. And if they want to do that, that's absolutely fine. They can crack on. But and it doesn't affect anybody else. But the fact that Trump is saying this about London, it really upsets me, because we are the greatest city in the world. We are the greatest city in the world. We happen to have a Muslim mayor. And the fact that he is being targeted for that fact, he's being pinpointed because of his religion, I find really, really tiresome. I just think it's people, we're better than that.
I have a million criticisms of Sadiq Khan that I've taken up to him personally. But he's asked me, why are you always criticising him? I have no issue whatsoever with his skin colour, his religion. I think they're totally and utterly irrelevant. However, I have an issue with virtually all of his policies. I think London is the greatest city in the world. I've lived around the world in countries like, in Americans. I've lived in places like New York, which used to be great cities and absolutely are not anymore. However, I think I don't know anyone who lives in London who doesn't think we're going down the drain in terms of rising criminality and the inability of people to buy homes, to sit with their families, a lot of problems in lots of other areas in our healthcare and everything. I just don't think there's anyone who lives in this city who doesn't think that things are going horribly wrong. And I hate to tell you, he's been the mayor for the last, 8 years?
Yeah, look, I think we have got a housing crisis in this city. That is an indisputable fact.
That's partly down to him and failing to build more homes. To
an extent, we are the victims of our own popularity in London. I mean, look, I'm a councillor in East London. I sit on a planning committee. I do my best to sign off and to build as many quality homes as possible.
And who do they go to? And who do they go to? Because you know a huge number of homes, new homes in this city, when they are built, they go to people who are foreign nationality. They don't go to born and bred Londoners.
So a lot of these are affordable. So they go to people who are below a certain wage. Yeah, okay, relatively affordable.
Who's affordable? George Osborne's affordable. What was that? 450 grand.
Yeah, it's below market rent or market sale prices, which is important. We have to make sure that everybody can be able to afford a home. It is not somewhere.
They can't. It's not going to change anytime soon.
They're not. But
certainly not in London, where Sadiq Khan is a terrible mayor.
But we are signing off homes. We are building them for everybody.
What about crime? What about crime? He's added dozens and dozens. I think even over 100 PR staff and other staff at City Hall on huge, big inflated salaries. Loads of people on 6-figure salaries at City Hall. But apparently we can't get enough coppers on the street to keep us safe.
Let's address crime, because this is really important.
Very quickly.
You are less likely to be a victim of crime in London than you are in the rest of the country. I know that sounds staggering, but it is true. I promise you the stats are there. The issue we have at the moment is visible crime. It's stuff like phone snatching, which people see. And when you see it, you feel unsafe. And I want to...
You don't feel unsafe. You know you are unsafe.
We're working to crack down on that as well in my little corner of London. But broadly, crime is falling in London, and that is a really good thing for everybody.
Yeah, again, we keep seeing it's not all crime. Plenty of crimes. There's plenty of violent crimes and street crimes are not falling. They're actually going up.
The murder rate is lower.
Oh, great. The murder rate.
Than Berlin. Is it Berlin, Paris, Madrid?
Yeah, we don't have so many guns. I just defy you to tell anyone in this country that they think that the crime rate is going down. That is not what they experience. We know huge numbers of people.
I'm just telling you what the stats are.
No, and you were very specifically picking out something. And this Sadiq Khan did this in a tweet the other day. He picked out sort of 3 stats which were going down when there were plenty of other stats in the same bar chart that were going up, and just doesn't bother mentioning those. Don't tell us stuff that we know to be untrue with our own eyes.
Look, there was a big difference between crime and perception of crime.
No, I'm not talking about perception of crime. I'm talking about actual crime statistics.
No. You have literally told me that
there are plenty of crimes that are going up in London.
And that's completely valid. If someone says, I feel unsafe...
No, I'm not saying I feel... No, I know that my city is no longer as safe as it used to be. I know this because the violent crime stats are going up. Violent crime stats are going up. That is a matter of fact.
Can you give me some numbers?
I haven't got the numbers right here on me, but I'm happy to post them online and you can look at them there. Sadiq Khan posted 3 stats that were going down, and there were plenty of stats in the same set of crime stats which showed other serious and violent crimes were going up.
I don't know what stats Sadiq has been talking about, so I can't comment on those.
Well, I'll find it, and I'll find it in the break, and I'll post them, and we'll get you back on. But if you're a councillor and you don't know that some violent crime stats are going up in this city, then frankly, I don't know where you've been living all this time. Sebastian, we'll have to leave it there. We're desperately late for a break.